Can you guys hear the music earlier?
I heard it for a little bit earlier, but I don't hear anything now.
No?
Yeah, there it is. Good.
I hear from your external speakers. Do you think there's a way to share it from your computer instead?
Naufal, are you playing the music now? Because I don't hear it anymore, but I wasn't sure.
What was that, Wendy?
Are you playing the music now? Because I wasn't hearing it anymore, so I wasn't sure.
Oh, mm, yeah, let me see. I think it needs to be in the same Chrome window.
Okay, gotcha. That sounds really good.
بچین سفره هفت سین نشینیم کنار هم از خدای مهربون شادی بخوایم برای هم عید اومده بهاره شادی رو بخونمون میاره عید اومده بهاره هرچی از خدا بخوای برات هدیه بیاره دلای بیقرار ثانیه ها رو میشماره دوباره رسیدن فصل بهار دوباره نو شدن قول و قرار دوباره محبت و آشتی کنون خوش باشیم تو این دو روزگار دوباره فصل شکفتن دله دوباره کنار گذاشتن گله نکنه یه وقتی یادمون بره که دیگه بر نمیگرده این بهار عید اومده بهاره شادی رو به خونمون میاره عید اومده بهاره هرچی از خدا میخوای واسه هدیه بیاره عید اومده بهاره شادی رو به خونمون میاره عید اومده بهاره هرچی از خدا میخوای واسه هدیه بیاره دلای بیقرار ثانیه ها رو میشماره دوباره رسیدن فصل بهار، دوباره نو شدن قول و قرار، دوباره محبت و آشتی کنون، خوش باشیم تو این دو روزگار. دوباره فصل شکفتن دله، دوباره کنار گذاشتن گله، نکنه یه وقتی یادمون بره که دیگه بر نمیگرده این بهار. عید اومده بهاره، شادی رو به خونمون میاره. عید اومده بهاره، هرچی از خدا میخوای برات هدیه بیاره. دلای بیقرار ثانیه ها رو میشماره. بیا تا دعا کنیم دلخوشی از رو برسه، دلامونو وا کنیم که این روزا مقدسه. هر کی آرزو داره به آرزوشم برسه، لحظه ها رو بشماریم سال نو از را برسه. بچین سفره 7 سین نشینیم کنار هم، از خدای مهربون شادی بخوای برای هم. عید اومده بهاره، شادی رو به خونمون میاره. عید اومده بهاره، هرچی از خدا بخوای برات هدیه بیاره. دلای بیقرار ثانیه ها رو میشماره. دوباره رسیدن فصل بهار، دوباره نو شدن قول و قرار، دوباره محبت و آشتی کنون، خوش باشیم تو این دو روزگار. دوباره فصل شکفتن دله، دوباره کنار گذاشتن گله، نکنه یه وقتی یادمون بره که دیگه بر نمیگرده این بهار. عید اومده بهاره، شادی رو به خونمون میاره. عید اومده بهاره، هرچی از خدا میخوای واسه هدیه بیاره. عید اومده بهاره، شادی رو به خونمون میاره. عید اومده بهاره، هرچی از خدا میخوای واسه هدیه بیاره. دلای بیقرار ثانیه ها رو میشماره.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our virtual Persian New Year celebration. I'm Hadesa Harvey, and I'm with Rojina Resalansari, and we are your hosts for today.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. So today we'll be celebrating Persian New Year, It's also known as Nowruz. It marks the first day of the spring or the equinox, and that is also the beginning of the new year in the Persian calendar. So the festival is celebrated on the day of the equinox when the sun crosses the equator and equalizes night and day. So the March equinox is observed in many countries in the Middle East, like Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. And Nowruz has been celebrated for over 3,000 years.
Today we will learn the historical significance of the holiday. We are also lucky to have a diverse set of students and faculty members that will present their experience celebrating the Persian New Year at the United States, Iran, Turkey, and Russia.
And I'll introduce our speakers for today. So today we have Dr. Ilhan. He is from Marketing and Communications. I will be representing the Iranian American community, and our own global ambassador, Naufal, will share his experience celebrating Nowruz in Russia. And then besides those presentations, we'll also have a Kahoot quiz and a virtual tour in between. So be engaged, ask questions. You can ask questions during anything, but at the end, we will also have a Q&A session if you want to ask any of our presenters anything or were curious about anything.
So right before we start, we have a short video to give an idea of what exactly Persian New Year celebration is like. So please enjoy the video.
What's Nowruz, you ask? Well, it's the Persian New Year. It's a celebration of spring and it marks the first day of the Iranian calendar. This is one of the oldest Persian supermarkets in the heart of London, and it's always buzzing around the New Year.
For me, it's been brought down through my generation. We've been told about the culture of Iran and the celebration of the New Year, which brings new light of spring into action for the year. And it's just a time to be joyful.
This is called a hafsin. I'll be making one at home too.
I think that was a nice little introduction for what we have coming up soon. So now I'd like to invite our first presenter, Rojina, and she'll be talking about the Persian New Year traditions. She's a global ambassador that has a cultural background in Iran and currently majoring in biology. She will also provide us a virtual tour of the Nowruz table.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rojina. I'm a global ambassador. I'm a junior majoring in biology, and I come from Iran. My family has been living here since 2005, though. Naufal, do you want to share the PowerPoint, or I can? Thank you. Yeah, and today I'll be talking to you about Nowruz in Iran. I'm just going to give you kind of like a background and some traditions that we have, and then I'll get into the half scene. So you can go to the next slide. Thank you. So as we said, Nowruz is kind of celebrating the first day of spring, which is also the first day of the new year in the Iranian calendar. Nowruz literally translates to new day, not new year. And then to begin Nowruz, we say Haji Firuz, which is Nowruz is starting. During this time, it's a huge celebration. So all schools are closed. There's a lot of like celebrations going on, and it's just kind of like a holiday type thing. Nowruz has been celebrated for around 3,000 years. It comes from the Zoroastrian religion, which is one of the oldest religions in the world. And it's always celebrated on the first day of spring, which is March 20th. And it's celebrated for 12 days. So the number 13 is unlucky, but on the 13th day in Iran, people will go on a picnic and they will wash the sabze, which is something from the Nowruz table, down a river. But I'll talk more about that when I get to the table. And it's not just celebrated by Iran, it's celebrated, as you'll see today, by a lot of different cultures and countries around the world and in the Middle East. Next slide, please. So some of the things that Iranians do to get like prepared for Nowruz is we will just do kind of like spring cleaning. So we'll clean the whole house, especially any like huge Persian rugs. Nowadays, people just kind of send them off to be cleaned, but some people still hand wash them, and you'll see them hung up like outside to dry. There's a tradition where adults, uncles will give like children money, presents, luck, all that like good stuff. And then the Wednesday before Nowruz is called Chaharshanbe Suri. Chaharshanbe meaning Wednesday and Suri meaning celebration. That is a day when people will light bonfires outside and they'll kind of like jump over them. It's just a really fun celebration that people do. And they get together and they eat good food and they play games at night, all that stuff. So now I'm going to show you guys my half scene table. So half scene means 7 S's. There are 7 items on the table that all begin with the letter S. I am just going to move my phone here. Okay. So this is my half scene table for this year. Everyone has their own way of doing it, but there should always be those 7 S's. So starting here with the sabze, it's these sprouts. We grew them from lentils this year, but you can grow them from a lot of different things. And so these are the sprouts that symbolize rebirth, renewal. And then this is on the 13th day. This is when you go out to the picnic and you kind of like wash them down a river, and anything unlucky, anything pain, suffering will just kind of like wash down the river, and you will have good like luck for the new year. Then we'll go to the Senjed. These are kind of dried fruits. They are just symbolizing love for the new year. We have apples, which is sib. These symbolize health, as well as the garlic, which is seed. These also symbolize health and medicine and taking care of yourself. One thing that I am missing from this table is a type of pudding. It's called Samanu, and that is to symbolize wealth and fertility. It's just a little early for New Year. Again, it's not until March 20th, so we didn't finish the whole table. There's also serke, which is in this jar. It's vinegar, and that symbolizes patience and wisdom, especially during aging. And then we have a spice. It's somar, or also I think people here say sumac. It's kind of sour, but it symbolizes like the sunrise. Other things that you can see here, we always set up mirrors. It's supposed to symbolize kind of like enlightenment and a time of reflection. We also have goldfish here, which I got this morning. That's to symbolize like rebirth, new life. Colored eggs, also new life. We put coins out to symbolize like prosperity and wealth. We have the Quran there. Some people will read from it. I should say Nowruz isn't technically a religious holiday. Now it's more of a culture thing. So as we would celebrate the New Year here in America, they celebrate the New Year in Iran. I did have those candles lighted, but it looks like they're turned off. But people will put candles all around. Something else that we are missing that I have not found yet is it's a type of flower. It's called a sombol, or a hyacinth here. Usually we put that up just to make it look pretty, but that also symbolizes like new life and things like that. And so that is our half-seen table for this year. And we will be adding on to it when it gets closer to Nowruz. But for now, for this presentation, this is what we have. Thank you guys for listening to my presentation. I hope you learned something. I hope the new year brings you guys a lot of wealth, prosperity, good luck, and Eid Nowruz Mubarak to everyone. Our next presenter will be Dr. Ilhan. He is from, again, web manager under marketing and communications, and he will be doing a presentation from his cultural background from Turkey.
Can I share my screen? Hi everyone, happy Nowruz, and I am very excited to speak to you about my experience as a Kurd in Turkey. When we discuss as a celebration of Nowruz, it is great impact on cultures and people's life. It is also important to note the other side of cultural celebrations, which is mostly related to political aspects of it. And unfortunately, in Turkey, our Nowruz celebration doesn't look like Iranian celebration. It has like mostly political tone on it. So because of that, I am just going to briefly give you a little history of Turkish experience and Kurdish experience in Turkey and Kurdish people. Even though, as Rojina said, so many countries and so many nations celebrate Nowruz, but it is very specific. It has specific forms in Turkey, and my experience I am going to talk about. So Kurds are the almost biggest ethnic group in the world without a state. And geographically, they live in southeastern Turkey and northeastern of other countries like Iran, Iraq, northern Syria. And Kurds originally were Zoroastrians before the Islamization. And in Zoroastrian doctrine, fire is a symbol of sight, goodness, and purification. That's why fire is very important cultural element in their culture, even though they are Muslim right now. And here are some Kurdish people in Turkey from different cities. In celebration, even though it shows some peculiarities from region to region, but generally Kurds, I'm not talking about only Turkey's Kurds right now, but in Kurds in general, they do have these common celebrative activities like games, dancing, family gathering, and special foods, and spring flowers, new clothes are worn, and not talking about others, no gossiping, that's another thing. And sometimes in some places they smash padres and reconcile people and visit cemetery. And some activities, also Rojina mentioned some of them, like germination of wheat or some other plants, symbolizes the fruitfulness. And then they chant when they jump over the fires. And there is one tradition called Baja Baja, that children go to house and ask for treats. And also there are some predictions. If the first day is sunny, spring will be fruitful. If the second day is rainy, summer months will be rainy. In Turkey's Nowruz celebration is strongly, because I'm going to mention that in Turkey, Kurdish culture and language has been banned since modern Turkish state established in 1923. That's why speaking Kurdish was forbidden and cultural elements were forbidden, especially when you start like talking about political level, it's just like totally taboo. Because of that, we don't have that chance to develop those kind of cultural experience. And Kurdish people in Turkey's Nowruz celebration is tied to some mythology. That mythology is about evil ruler called Dahak. And he ruled Kurdistan like 1,000 years, but he was so evil and repressive. Just because of that, according to mythology, spring stops coming to Kurdistan. And one day he had like 2 snakes growing on his shoulders, and it was so painful. And then they started thinking that, oh, we have to, in order to elevate his pain, we have to feed those snakes with young people's brain. And then they started sacrificing 2 young men every day to feed those snakes. But this was, of course, creates the discontent. And one day, the guy who is responsible to feed these snakes starts saving one of those men. Instead of 2 men, he sacrificed one and then saved the other one, and then replace with a sheep's brain instead of human brain. And those men that saved go to mountain, and then they get together and then create a group. And when discontent grew, there is a blacksmith, Kawa. He one day started a revolt with those young men that saved. And after the revolt, they killed the ruler, Dahak. And then they set a fire on the mountains or hillsides to celebrate the victory. And then next day, spring comes to Kurdistan. Because it is still so vivid in our culture, that like this mythology, and that's why holiday celebration, like Nowruz celebration, symbolizes not only the start of a new year, but also freedom of Kurdish people. As I mentioned, in 1923, Turkish Republic started kind of like racist ideology, Turkification, and then dismiss or not acknowledge other existence of other cultures and minorities. And Kurdish Kurdish people are the biggest group in Turkey, like close to 20 million people. This caused like a big fight, and Kurdish guerrillas and Turkish army, like 30,000 people killed in 1980s and 90s. In 2000, early 2000, Turkish government finally recognized Kurdish existence, because before they were saying like there is no Kurds, they are just mountain Turks, and there is no Kurdish language. That's just a broken Turkish. And then finally in 2000, it's not too long ago, they legalized Kurdish identity and Kurdish language, and Nowruz as a celebration. But again, they changed it. They said that it's a Turkish celebration. They were refusing and denying. Now all of a sudden it becomes Turkish celebration. And they even changed the letters, because there is W in Kurdish language, but not in Turkish. They just changed it, and it started spelling like Nevruz. I'm going quickly, I know we have little time. So that's why in celebration, Nowruz celebration in Turkey related to oppression and repression, and it becomes like a symbol of Kurdish resurrection and manifestation of Kurdish identity. I ask, because I have never experienced any celebration, but police brutality and state terrorism when I grew up. That's why I started asking people, like last 2 weeks, I have been trying to get information saying that, like, aside from that state terror, what Kurds do? What are they doing? How are they celebrating? Because of that long history of oppression, they don't celebrate much, but I heard that in some rural areas, like villages after long winter, they get together as a picnic and then talk about it, like what happened during the long winter, because they cannot communicate. I don't know if internet changed right now or not, but that's one thing that they talk about when they are going to go to summertime and for their herds, all those farmers stuff. And they may build a fire and jump over it, but it was mostly like quiet things. It's not a big celebration. And then, of course, they visit the graves of dead relatives. However, in big cities, it is just a different form. It is a form of protest and demonstrations. Again, if city allowed, sometimes it is not allowed. They do it anyway. They get together, they create bonfires, dancing, singing, and chanting, and then most of the time, police interrupts, and then we have arrests, even killing sometimes. Even today, this anti-Kurdish sentiment exists. Like democratically elected pro-Kurdish party leaders and parliamentarians were arrested without any lawful reason. It is like mostly political. Like last Wednesday, 2 days ago, or yesterday, another member of parliament has been stripped of his status, and then he's facing a prison sentence just because of a tweet. And tweet was about peace between Kurds and Turks. And then application submitted to close the pro-Kurdish party. Since 1990s, pro-Kurdish parties were established and closed maybe at least 6 or 7 times. So that's another thing. This is just news articles showing that happened yesterday. And then this is again closing the party application. Some images from big cities, how they celebrate Kurds, even though they are surrounded with the police and soldiers, but they keep celebrating. And this is traditional, you see traditional clothes, and yellow, green, and red is important colors, symbolizes in Kurdish flag. And folkloric dances are important parts. And then, of course, police and police brutality, also important part of Kurdish Nowruz celebration in Turkey. And happy Nowruz. I just found this National Geographic site showing all those Nowruz celebration, different countries. If you Google it, you can find it. If you cannot, just email me. I'll send you the URL address. And thank you for listening. Happy Nowruz again. And I'm done.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ilhan. It's really interesting to see like how Turkey celebrates. And it's really sad that there's such a bad history behind such a, like, literally and figuratively such a colorful holiday, because it's just a celebration of like spring and new life and luck. And even I remember learning, even in Iran after the Islamic Revolution, they tried to get rid of it and they tried to ban it. But I mean, obviously it didn't work, but it's just really sad. And hopefully in the future, they will be able to celebrate freely everywhere around the world instead of being oppressed, because it is really a happy holiday. But thank you so much for your presentation. It was very interesting. Thank you. So now we will be moving on to the Kahoot. These will include questions from our presentations. I think you guys can go to kahoot.it and we'll share the pin with you. Yeah, and if you go to that website, it is in the chat, and put in the game pin, you guys can join, and we'll get started in a minute here. All right, so what is the name of the Persian New Year? Nowruz, Rosh Hashanah, this one should be easy.
All right, number 2. What season does Nowruz celebrate to the start of? Spring, summer, autumn, or winter? Yes. All got it right.
All right, so true or false, Nowruz is only celebrated in Iran. Okay. Yeah, it's celebrated in Iran, Turkey, United States, all different countries there too.
What does Nowruz mean? Be careful with this one. today it's the start of spring, start the new year.
Okay, and then true or false, there are different ways to spell Nowruz. That one is true.
How do people start the preparation for Nowruz? They sleep, clean their house, or they go swimming. Yes.
And then what does Haji Fuse tell people? So is it Nowruz is finished or Nowruz is starting? Yep. Nowruz is starting.
What does Uncle Nowruz give to the people? Presents, luck, or both? It's both.
Okay, and then how many items are on the half scene table? Is it 12, 9, or 7? Yep, it's 7. So half is 7, and then scene is like the letter S. Yep.
What do Iranians celebrate Nowruz? First day of spring, first day of winter, first day of summer. First day of spring.
And then how long are Nowruz celebrations? Is it 12 days, 1 week, or 2 weeks? Yep, 12 days, and then on the 13th day, they go on a picnic. Okay.
Are schools and offices open during this period? No.
All right, and which number is unlucky? 4, 13, or 10? Yep. Guys all got that one.
What do people do on the 13th day of spring? Have a picnic, go to the gym, or clean their house? Yes. All right. We have Wendy. Third place. FK in second. Meow. Tommy in first place. Congratulations. All right. Hopefully you guys had a fun break with that Kahoot. So now I'd like to invite our final presenter, Naufal. He will be talking about the Persian New Year celebration in Russia. He's a global ambassador from Indonesia, and he also works for the Office of Student Life. Naufal has lived and experienced Russia, so now he'll present his experiences.
Thank you, Hadisa. So, hello everyone. My name is Naufal. I'm a Google ambassador from Indonesia. Like she said, I actually spent a year in Russia for education and cultural exchange. So, I will share what I learned so far. So, Nowruz in Russia is quite a holiday because even everyone that is not from the culture acknowledges it's a national holiday. But Nowruz itself, like Rojina said, it's originated in Iran, in Persia. So in Farsi, it means new day. And in Russia, even though Russia is this big, as you can see, some ethnic groups actually celebrate it uh, as how they do in Persia. So those ethnic groups are like Tatars, Bashkirs, Lezgins, and also region south here, like if you can see, this is the region of Caucasia, which is near to Central Asia, like Kazakh and Uzbekistan. And then also this celebration is about 12 days, and the 13 days, like Regina said, it's the day for the picnic, and it's usually I think for this year it falls on March 20th actually. So yeah, and it also believed that the more jollier, the merrier the celebration for Nowruz is in Russia, the better the harvest will be on that year. So this is a picture of, I believe, from Tatarstan, like with their traditional clothes. So Tatarstan is located here. Like as you can see, it's called Kazan, the biggest city, and Moscow is the Russia's capital. It's about, I don't know, probably 14 hours away. It's pretty far away. And the thing in celebrations in Russia of any holiday, let's say New Year or Christmas, they always make extravagant um, e-cards like this one. So yeah, usually families send this through their loved one, their family, their relatives, and then wish them a happy, this one as Happy Nowruz. But in Russia, we call it Seprasnikam Nowruz, which means Happy Nowruz, Happy Spring Nowruz. Seprasnikam Vesni Nowruz. I forgot to put the Vesni. So Seprasnikam means happy, Vesni means spring, Nowruz means Nowruz. So Happy Spring Nowruz. And in the cards, e-cards like this, people wishes the happy Norse, also wish them health, wish them good luck, wish them better weather for the year ahead, because it's the start of spring. Because in Russia, they have a really long winter. Usually winter lasts from October until even March. Usually during this March, just before the equinox, like there's still a lot of snow. Yep, this is the e-cards that is commonly used. Other than Nowruz, there's actually a holiday not directly related to Nowruz. It's called Meslinitza. It it falls the week before Nowruz itself, because Meslinitza is actually a holiday from the Slavic pagan and also Christian Orthodox. So it doesn't relate to the Zoroastrian one, but it also marks the end of winter. So it's kind of related in a way. So in the Maslenitsa, or the that marks the end of winter, also known as Sun Festival, usually families make this kind of pancake. It's called blini. It's closer to a crab, if you know crab from France, like the French pancakes, the thin one. So yeah, people eat it with sour cream or condensed milk or even caviar. Like I like it with like the salmon caviar because it's not too expensive, but it's still something interesting. And yeah, the coolest thing about this holiday, I've experienced this. They usually put up like a rag doll from rugs, old rugs and clothes and hay, and then put a it's called a lady maslinitsa, and they burn the thing down, and people usually dance around this burning bonfire, and after it goes to the ashes, I think people jump over it or something like that. And during this time while we wait and dance, we also have competitions like sledding and yeah, some competitive competitions there. And this is, yeah, like I said, it marks the Sun Festival or Pancake Day because this pancake resembles the sun because this is the end of the winter March equinox. So I think it's when the sun actually really aligns in a way. Some special dishes that we use, it's really common in throughout Central Asia and Russia itself. It's called pilaf or pilaf. It's basically a rice dish usually cooked with stock, broth, and a lot of vegetables. And sometimes you use lamb or beef. I like it when it's using lamb. It's pretty simple, but it's really good for family celebrations. And yes, I'm gonna show you a quick picture of some of the celebrations around Russia. Let me just move on here. As you can see here, so Russia is really big. Even though it's big, it's really diverse. It has a lot more than 100 ethnic groups. Even in Moscow, if you can see in this picture, people usually gather around. It's called Videnki. It's this shopping center, but it's open for everyone. So during this Norse week, people usually cook pila from different regions and they celebrate. They hang around, and everybody has their own pilaf recipe. Some vegetarians one, some seafood one, some lamb one, and this is only in Moscow. So yeah, about 20 ethnic diasporas from around Russia gather in Moscow to celebrate it, and they wear their own traditional clothes. And then in Kazan, where the capital of Tatarstan, Tatarstan is I think more related to Uyghurs and Turks. That's why um, they found similar traditions as this one. In this city, they have city track and then large scale ethnic market. Because Kazan is one of the stop in the old Silk Road. And then we have people from Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan too. And then Sochi is actually near the Black Sea, near Turkey, near the Caucasian mountains. In this city, there's a lot of Tatars people too, and they celebrate it why? By making shashlik. You can see this is a shashlik. It's like shish, it's like kebabs, but usually people use lamb. But if you're a Christian Orthodox in Russia, people usually use pork actually. And then, yeah, also in Sochi, people usually throw out candies or irish meat to eat, and cottage cheese and cream cheese. But I love shashlik. Shashlik is a really good dish and it's easy to make. And there's some other places too, like this one in Durban, and Dagestan that I mentioned earlier, that people have a traditional contest of tray of boiled eggs was brought and competed and who has the strongest shell. And they say it's a good luck if you met an offer in marriage in Nowruz. So I see that as interesting. And again, it's always the pilaf. Pilaf is always on for celebration, not just Nowruz, even Islamic holidays like Eid al-Adha or yeah, a lot of celebrations. But that's that. So yeah. So Sprasnikum Vesni Nowruz. Happy Nowruz. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Naufal. All those foods look amazing. And I like the nice bonus of Meslinitza, very similar to Nowruz. So now we have our last activity. We have a Jamboard for everyone to fill out. So we'll have a link posted in the chat, and I'll even share it on the screen. Oh, nope, we already have one on the screen. So on the left-hand side, you'll see a little square sticky note. Click on that icon to create a sticky note to tell us your favorite part of the Persian New Year. Now, just stick around for the Q&A session as well.
Hadassah, do you have the link? I don't think it's in the chat yet.
There we go.
Great, thank you.
We have our first sticky note. Symbolism on the table. It is very intricate, but it could also be very fun. Oh, okay, we got a bunch more coming in. Food and celebration, yes. Food, always the food. Celebrating spring. Spring's my favorite season. I think for me would be the picnic. Yes, someone already has it down there. Oh yes, the music. The symbolism, the dance, food, vibrant traditional clothes. It is so fun. Oh yeah, the mythology story. Very empowering. I think the history is very important.
All right, a lot of good stuff here. Thank you guys for engaging, and makes me really happy, like personally, to see that you guys learned so much about Nowruz, and hopefully next year we'll be able to do like a bigger celebration. But thank you guys so much for showing up. I'd like to invite Wendy now to share about our upcoming Global Ambassador events.
Naufal, I don't think I'm able to turn on my video. If you can let me do that. Okay, well, if I'm not able to, I'll just go ahead and talk about what's coming up. So we're so glad you guys all joined us today. And Rojina, I too am really much looking forward to when we can do a Nowruz celebration in person together next year. But I did want to go ahead and let you all know that we have our Holy Festival coming up April 1st. And this is a festival of colors, and we're gonna enjoy a lot of celebration revolving around Holi, which is primarily celebrated in India. So join us again for that. And then our International Cultural Etiquette Workshop. This is a workshop specifically for faculty and staff that will be put on by our global ambassadors. So we're really looking forward to your input as global ambassadors and also having the opportunity to equip our faculty and staff. So we really hope that they'll join us and we'll have some great interaction that way. So thanks again, everyone, for being here. And Rojina, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you, Wendy. Definitely make sure you guys join us for those. Holi is super awesome, and I'm sure we're gonna have a great lineup this year. And thank you all for joining us again. Eid Nowruz Mubarak. I hope you guys have a great new year, and this new year brings you a lot of color, a lot of joy, a lot of wealth. If anyone has any questions, feel free to stick around and ask us. Thank you to all the presenters, Dr. Ilhan, Naufal, and thank you for everyone that helped plan this. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. If not, that marks the end of our presentations. And thank you all for coming. You're free to go.